This is test number 22. It is to test that the program can recognise the end of a game. So this is just the first innings, and this is just to show, because we had to restart the test because I'm about to film this over more than one day. The statistics that will be being stored in the database later. So as you can see, for Davies, 56 runs off 73 balls faced, and the expected outcomes from this are in the test data to be checked when testing the success of test number 24. But this is test number 22, so I'll fast forward through the second innings to see if it can recognise the end of a game. This is test number 22 continued. This is to show this is to test at the end of the game can be recognised, but also just to show to check that the SQL is actually working correctly later. The values for the bowlers, so we'll test that with Summers, who has an ID of 7. So if we add a dot here, and then if you notice the bowlers' totals are not outputting correctly to the user, but they are outputting they are being stored correctly to the internally within the arrays. So for reference for the SQL, I'll put this in the test data and work out what the calculated statistics should be from it. So 39 runs conceded and 12 overs bowled with no wickets. So that's our data for Summers, who has an ID of 7 in the bowling stats table. If we then step through, this should recognise that it's the last ball of the game and the end of game is called. So that test is successful. This is test number 23. To test that the correct result is stored within the match players. As you can see, the program has calculated the wrong result, so the wrong result will most likely be stored, but it's still good to test that the SQL connection is there. So 190 runs to 122, yet the away team stored win, so that is incorrect. So we will still test that it has been stored within the match table in the database. So that's the end of the game now, that's been scored. So in match we should see a game with the ID of 10 on the 7th of February against Ingleby Greenhow, which results in a loss, but it should in fact be a win. But it is good that the SQL connection is working, and in there it's just a matter of the scorebook form calculating the correct result. So that is technically a fail. Test number 24 is to test that in match player stats, the correct statistics from a particular game are all stored. So you can use the test data and the previous frames in the video for referencing. So as we can see, Davies had an ID of 2, scored 56 runs and 73, and faced 73 balls. If we look at who else we mentioned, Summers has an ID of 8 and bowled 12 overs and faced 52 balls with 44 runs scored, and that is in the test data and can also be seen in the previous frames for the video. But I think I've definitely showed 12 overs bowled and also 39 runs conceded, and that is for Summers. So that test has succeeded. Just to provide more sufficient evidence for test number 24, as you can see, the ID of Davies is 2 and the ID of Summers is equal to 8. So that has definitely been a success. Test number 25 is to see that all the batting stats for the season have been updated correctly, and to show an update rather than just a new insert for the first test, I've set every player's ratings to these stats here. That's their base start stats, just to show the differences and that they are successful in the testing. And so Davies has achieved 56 runs from 73 balls, and so the following statistics should be present in the batting stats table with the ID of 2. So the ID of 2, we refresh. If we compare these statistics here, so we have so I'm just getting the window up. So this is here for the ID of 2. So the innings is equal to 2, the runs scored is equal to 66, the batting average is equal to 33, the balls faced is equal to 83. The database is correct. I have accidentally entered that incorrectly into the test data. That is correct. It is 83 because it's 10 plus 73. And the strike rate bat has not been calculated for some reason. That was working previously. Not sure why it isn't anymore. So the strike rate bat has not been calculated, but the bat average has. And 50 should be equal to 1, which they are not which it is not updated. 50s to 1. So 50s and strike rate bat have not updated correctly, but everything else in the batting stats table has. This is test number 26. It's a test that the bowling stats have been updated correctly. So as you can see from the test data, we're using Summers, who has an ID of 8. The previous values, as were the previous values for all the players and bowling stats, again just to see the differences and ease the testing process, were equal to the test data here. And the expected outcomes are these. So these should be the values that Summers now has after those statistics that were gained in the game, as was shown earlier in test 22, and are specified in the test data. Sorry, no, they were shown in test 22 during the footage, and that is what they should update to. So he scored 12. He bowled 12 overs, took no wickets, so the wickets remains as 1, conceded 39 runs, and so that value should be 49. Ball average 49 divided by 1, that's what the bowling average is, so the runs scored divided by the number of wickets, so that remains at 49. And the strike rate, so that's 22 times 6, which is brains full. It's strike rate ball is the number of balls bowled, and the 6 balls in an over, over the, so it's how many balls a bowler needs to bowl to get a wicket, and so that should be equal to 132. I did that calculation earlier. So we look in bowling stats here, and with an ID of 8, we have, I'm going to use this test data here to check as well. We have 22 overs bowled, 1 wicket scored, 49 runs conceded, 49 ball average, because that's just 49 divided by 1, and a strike rate ball of 132. So that test is also successful. Test number 26. Test number 27 is a test that a player can be added to the Broughton players database. So we will add the player specified in the test data. I'll just pause the video while I'm doing that. So the data has been entered into appropriate fields, so we just press the save button and the player's been saved, and then check Broughton players. Should be an ID, or we refresh and there's an ID of 100. Burniston Joe, born on the 24th of August 2000, Joe Burney 511@gmail.com, with the phone number stored there. So that test is successful. This is test number 28 to test that the result of a game can be viewed, and a player from that game, you can see their individual stats from that game, and so we'll use the one that we've just scored in this testing. So you can select the team. This is supposed to remove any duplicates, but it's not an issue if you select Ingleby Greenhow, as then you can select which date, as you played this team twice, or more than twice in this case. So 7th of February is our test. So we select that and then view, and as you can see, it was actually a win, but again, that's not this program's problem. So that is a pass because you can see that result and the date and the team that you played, and then this populates with the players that were playing in that game, and we can remember from the test data that Davies scored 56 runs from 73 balls. So, and this is stored in here. So this is also successful. If we test for Summers, who bowled 12 balls and conceded 12 overs, sorry, conceded 39 runs. So overs bowled 12, runs conceded 39, and 44 runs scored and 52 balls faced. So that test number 28 is successful. This is test number 29 to test that the test for the season can be the statistics for the season can be viewed. So this takes us to the data grid view. If we select batting stats, and then as you can see in the test data, Davies should be first when we select a sort by balls faced, as he has the highest amount of balls faced. So accidental break in that. So Davies is first with 83 balls faced, and if you look down the list, that is in descending order from the highest to the lowest, and those are just the base rate that are set to show the differences in testing. So those people didn't bat in that game, and so if we look down and then also we'll check for another one. So that test is passed, but just to show that it is successful, we'll test for batting average. So Bladen should be 4th, and Smith and Davies should swap. Summers should remain at number 3. So we check for bat average. You can see Smith has gone to the top of 41, and it is once again in order successfully. So for batting statistics, that has worked. We will also test for Summers. As you can see, he has the highest amount of runs conceded with 49. So when we change to bowling stats, and runs conceded isn't an option for some reason, so that needs to be changed. So if we check for overs bowled, you can clearly see these are in descending order, so that is also successful.